Well, we're already there. We already use digital money, but it's just do we want to use digital fiat or digital crypto? And as we see China release the DCEP, I think it stands for the Digital Currency Electronic Payment.
Right.
It appears that they might be rushing for their crypto to be the world currency. And then there's argument about the gold standard coming back. And then you have cryptos linked to gold, and then you have the digital gold of Bitcoin. And I think you raised a good point about timing. Will this stuff work? Yes. Will it work tomorrow? Well, it's the same. The good analogy that you gave was the internet. But when we look at Goguen as an example, going back to Cardano, so Goggen's your focus for the launch in February, but beyond Goguen, let's say in 5 to 10 years, where do you see Cardano being used most?
Well, I'd hope we have 100 million or 200 million, perhaps more African users, and lots in Eastern Europe and lots in Southeast Asia. And it's the day-to-day platform for a financial operating system. Your land registration's on it. You're getting loans on it. You're communicating with your friends and family with it. You're doing payments with it. You're securitizing your business with it and raising money with it. You're running your country's stock market on it. You're running your national elections on it. I would love to see Cardano do that within 5 or 10 years. And I actually think it's possible, especially for countries that are in the market for new systems, where they're actively trying to change. With Georgia, for example, the way we structured everything, it's very likely that within the next 5 years, every university diploma in that country issued will, by default, be verified and validated by the Cardano blockchain. So every one of those students, that's normal for them. And then we can extend that to the national payment system, the track and tracing of tourism, 1,000 different things, tax collection. That can be normal for them. And it's really not that hard once your foot is in the door to start adding layers to that system. So I think we have a real good shot for Cardano to provide that. And what's nice is you have natural utility and demand then. You'll have organically, as a consequence of these systems, billions of transactions every single day. And the way the economics are built in Cardano, that creates sustainability, because you no longer need inflation to compensate the stake pool operators or the treasury system. The transaction fees alone will be valuable enough to actually cover the day-to-day operations of the system. So you have built in a growth engine that will continue paying VC to grow the system and continue capturing markets. And then you have another positive feedback loop that pays for more and more competition to run more and more infrastructure to make the system more decentralized. And with Hydra and other technology we've been investing in, we're going from a replicated to distributed system. So as we add more competition, instead of just getting more security, you also get more scale. So that's the magic of the protocols we've had. We figured out a way to get demand through public-private partnerships and getting these new governments on board. And that demand will generate organically billions of dollars of value, which translates to sustainability and growth of the system. And so we have a positive feedback loop that'll just keep going and going and going. And then we're wired into the academies, so we have a decentralized brain. Regardless of what happens to me, you have hundreds of scientists all around the world waking up every day, working full-time for Cardano and writing protocols for Cardano. So you have all these young, renewable, faceless minds. Doesn't matter where they're from. They can be Mongolia, or they can be Eritrea, they can be, America, writing protocols. And so you're always innovating, and you're innovating at a scale that no other company can innovate at, no other, blockchain can innovate at. So we'll always have a scientific and protocol advantage, especially as we deal with more and more complex problems over every other system. That's my hope.
The example that you gave there with the degrees is fantastic. I was listening to a podcast just yesterday, actually, about buying a degree. You could get Masters of Businesses in certain Middle East states for $120. Yeah. And there was no real way of certifying it. And some of the stamps on these degrees, they were amazing. They seem to be the original stamp. But of course, bring in the blockchain and you can't, these things fraudulent. So I think you've got a fantastic real life case study there that as soon as you do that, I cannot see any reason why other universities wouldn't adopt that as a certification of their degrees.
Right. And then you get 2 or 3 countries, you get inter-country agreements, you get Georgia, maybe then Italy or Greece, and then suddenly it becomes a European standard. Then the whole EU ratifies it within 5 or 10 years, and you're the de facto infrastructure. So even though it's an open standard, you'll capture 80% of the market. It's same for CBDCs, so China's doing one, so America's got to do one, and they got to get a little bit more friendly with crypto regulation, but then they'll create standards for CBDCs, and then every central bank will want to do it. And then what you do is you say, hey guys, we're the settlement layer. Get rid of BIS. 2/3 of these banks are non-BIS members anyway, so just come deploy on our system and use us as a settlement system, and we'll be the best deployer of that particular standard. So even though Tezos will probably have one, and Algorand will have one, and so forth, we'll get 8 for every one that they get. And that alone creates billions of transactions every week in volume. So these are the kinds of things that I'm very excited about. We've been building and building and building for so long. And now to actually go out there into the arena and commercialize is just so much fun. And the fact that we have this built-in venture capital engine with Catalyst that creates hundreds of millions of dollars to go and collect these deals and bring them into the ecosystem and to encourage in a very egalitarian way. We had people in Africa who got funded with Fund 2. It's so incredible to see that, a small scale fund is able to have so much reach, and it'll turn from dozens to hundreds to thousands of projects every 6 to 8 weeks. Is incredible too, because they bring their networks, their families, their friends into the system, and then they personalize it. So it's not Cardano Charles Hoskinson edition; it's Cardano, John Smith edition. And so that's a really powerful thing because it's now their protocol, and they've found their own seat at the table.